Shalom, y'all. Resistance is Spellbreaker here. Today we're going to talk about my personal testimony. Now, I got to be kind of vague when I do this because if I went into specifics, someone who was once one of my gang stalkers would be able to see this video and they would be able to go, hey, wait a minute. Didn't we do that to that one guy? And then I wouldn't be so anonymous anymore now, would I? So I'm going to give you the gist of it. It's very, very real. And people who don't think so are very naive. So one of the things that they do is, I'm going to start this off by establishing something about this. There's a big misconception. If you're law enforcement and you're attempting to build a case against somebody, it's ideal for you that you follow them and that they never know it, okay? Now, if you are attempting to intimidate someone, that would be counterproductive. So your gang stalkers are not so much going to be hiding from you. They want you to know that they're there. And I've even heard some of them come out and complain about how unaware people were, that no matter how much they followed them, they still it would have no effect on them because they were just so unaware of their surroundings. And it was so outside of their mind that anyone would ever do this to them that they just were able to trick themselves into believing that it wasn't taking place. So they really come out and wave high at you. In my case, I happen to have a little bit of a reputation. Not bragging, okay? But I think they knew this. And I think that that's what amped the gang stalking up for me. So one of the things that they like to do is, you're under 24-hour surveillance, okay? We call ourselves targeted individuals. But that's a term that we came up with. They call us projects with a number. So you might have been Project 14. I might have been Project 22. You see, they have many people that they're doing this to in the particular city that you live in. Gang stalking almost always takes place in the city. So they're assigned to you. It's my opinion that you have people who are assigned to you specifically, and then there are other people who every day they come in and they're like, okay, what project are you going to be on today? Okay, you're going to be on 15. You're going to be on 20, okay? And that's how, so they go as needed. So if one gang stalker, if one project, target individual, acts up, then they can push more backup in that direction. So that's how the programs are ran. Because there's people who I would see on a daily basis, and there's people I would see only on a weekly basis. So this gives me the idea of how their system must have ran, as well as hearing testimonies from ex-gang stalkers. So some of the things that they would do is they would park outside of whatever structure I would go into. They would position their vehicles, ideally, if they could get their vehicles, within eyeshot of the front door and with eyeshot of the back door. So if I walked into someone's house in a normal neighborhood street, someone was going to be parked, usually on the other side of the block, looking through the houses at the front door that I went into, and vice versa with the back door as well, if they could get away with doing that, if they could park the vehicles there or what have you. If not, they would actually get out on foot, walk a dog, do things like that. But they would be the same people. So pretty unmistakable to me, but it would fool your average person driving by, you see. So every day when I would walk outside of my house, I guess that's a big moment for them to play on your psychological triggers. Some of the things they like to do is they like to all be positioned outside of your house. And they would all pretend to be doing something. And as you walked outside, they would all be looking at you. So as soon as you open your door up, you're on a stage. Okay, that was one of the things I like to do. When I walked outside of my home, one of three things would happen. If I was with somebody, a car alarm would go off. If I was by myself, a horn would honk. Or they would scream something very, very foul at me. Hey you, my first name, go F yourself, or kill yourself, you see, something like that would happen. So every day when I would come outside, this noise would take place from about a block away, okay? So they stay about a block away, and they monitor you. It doesn't matter if it's 3 in the morning, if it's 2 in the morning, if it's 2 in the afternoon, okay? That's going to happen when I leave every single day. I experience witches' bottles. For those of you who don't know what they are, they're bottles of urine with hair and nail clippings in them. They believe enhances their spells if that particular object is outside of your door or whatever. Now, I've heard of people saying that they like to come inside of their house and rearrange their furniture. In my case, I was well armed and they knew it. So breaking into my house just wasn't an ideal thing for them. What they like to do to me is actually go to my vehicle and rearrange things, put a teddy bear in the seat and put the seatbelt on, leave a little mint on the seat for me, shit like that. Okay, they like to pick on me through rearranging my vehicle. One of the more funnier things that they like to do to me was they like to, you'd be walking through a grocery store and they would actually get a whole bunch of them and stand behind me, and they're very, very scary people, very large, scary people, tattoos on the face, things like this. And, it'd be 4 or 5 of them. And they would proceed to tell me, make sure that I was within earshot of their conversation and speak very loudly about exactly what I had done that day. So they would put themselves in my shoes and they'd be like, hey, what did you do today? I did this, I did this, I did this, and then I did this, and then I did this, and then I did this. And they went into great specifics about what I had just done that day. Okay? In the stores, another thing that they would do is actually quite funny, is they would walk by me and a woman would walk by and she would have children with her, and the children would all walk by me and give me the finger. So it was pretty funny. And then, so that they're playing, and the woman would play it off good too. Like she didn't know it was happening, but she very much did and was very much a part of what was taking place. And other times, the children, I would walk by the children and they would actually say mean things to me and use my first name. So it wasn't a coincidence. Okay. So another thing they would do is they like to chant things at me. I don't know what language it was. It could have been a witch's language, but they would chant things at me all the time. And I don't know what that was about or why they would do something like that. They had a way of following me that was unreal. The only way it could have ever been accomplished is if there was a GPS device on the vehicle. I searched far and wide for it and could never ever locate it. But they were able to follow me with such accuracy that it would have been impossible any other way that I can conceive inside of my brain other than them having a GPS locator on the vehicle itself. So if I got into a vehicle that wasn't that vehicle that I was normally in, I would see a lot more of them because I had gotten to a vehicle that they couldn't track. So they would really have to amp their game up. These people were very intimidating. Some of them would hold gang signs up at me. Some of them would come into wherever, like if I had a job or something, they would come in and they would make a complaint against me. Okay. I'd worked in a restaurant for a short time, and the things that I was accused of had never taken place. Okay. Their goal is to destroy you. Okay. And that's what they're paid to do. Okay. And they're given bonuses. Like if you can go in and get this person to lose their job, you get a $1,000 bonus and stuff like this. So they have incentives on each little thing. If you can make this person go to the mental institution, you get a bonus. If you can make them commit suicide, I heard the bonus was $5,000 for each gangstalker that was present when you took your life. So these people are very evil. What they're doing is very, very much real. One day they did just poof and leave me alone because the contract runs out. I mean, they're paying a lot of money to have you gangstalked. And after a certain amount of time, if the target's not going to commit suicide, the target's not going to commit suicide. And they know that. They're out to shut up as many people as they can. And, all that effort, all that money that's going to you, and you're just not going to commit suicide, all that effort could go to somebody else who might commit suicide. So they're looking at a chart, okay? If you're being gangstalked, don't commit suicide. They're going to go away, okay? Someone's paying for all that gas. Someone's paying for all that manpower. And whoever that someone is probably isn't going to want to keep paying it if you're not going to kill yourself. 3 years is a common theme. Sometimes it's 6 months. Sometimes it's 1 year. And I've even heard them all stalking people up to 10 years. It just depends on how important you are. And I don't mean to, tear your ego down, pal, but you're probably not that important. Okay? So no one's going to be beaming messages off of the moon into your head or any strange shit like that. Now, they do have energy weapons, and I did experience that, where I would feel like my whole body was like static electricity, and I would just be terrified out of nowhere. And there were times I believe that those frequencies and things were turned on. But on a whole, this isn't, it doesn't get much crazier than a bunch of people attempting to intimidate someone using witchcraft and using technology that was not readily available to an average person. Okay, so some of the claims are real. Some of these people are just crazy schizos. But on a whole, I would say that the targeted individual community is legit, with some crazy people who have blended into it. And I think that methamphetamine and crack cocaine has amplified some crazy people being in our community. But I think that on the whole, obviously I know what took place with me, so I can only imagine that it's taking place with many other people. At the time when this happened to me, I had never heard of targeted individuals or anything. It wasn't until after it was all over that I had found out about all of you. Okay, had I known about all of you, it would have made it a lot easier for me. So share this with someone if you think that this is going to help. Have a blessed day. Shalom.